Well, once again, we are here on the Simpleton Network. We're just going to call it a network now. We're the Simpleton Network. Heck yeah.
Simpleton Network.
Simpleton
There's more
Review.
than two of us here, so we're good.
That's right. We are a network. We are the trio. We are the three amigos, the three simpletons.
Hey.
Okay.
Come on, you got to do the dance too. Come on, and get their arms out there. Come on. Okay, so we don't have some break.
I am Simpleton number 1, Nate Wade.
And I'm Simpleton number 2, Charlie Gibson.
I'm Simpleton number 3, Lemuel Edwards.
Right, and we are known as the Simpletons. And you can be a simpleton too. If you are watching this show, you are an honorary simpleton. This week we are reviewing the movie on Netflix, the Netflix movie original called The Trial of the Chicago 7. And, it's written, well, I don't know if it's written, but it was written, I think it was written, but definitely directed by Aaron Sorkin. You may know Aaron Sorkin by such projects as The West Wing, which was a very famous television series back in the 90s. He's also done shows like The Social Network, and I can't remember some of the others, but those are the two biggest ones. Social Network was the movie about Facebook. It's interesting. So.
Yeah, Facebook. Let's go.
So the Chicago 7. The Chicago 7 talks about the infamous trial of these agitators, or at least that's what they were portrayed as, of people back in, I think it was 1968, who protested, or were going to try to protest the Democratic National Convention that year in Chicago, and chaos ensued, as things did in the 1960s, and there were people that were arrested because they supposedly caused riots, and there was 7 people that were put on trial for these riots that nobody died, but people got injured, and basically the city of Chicago, and not only the city of Chicago, but basically the United States government in general wanted to put these people on trial as an example of what's going to happen if you, practice civil disobedience, for lack of a better word. So tell me, guys, what did you think of this movie? I mean, y'all know it's a real story, right?
Yes.
Okay, true story. Okay, so Charlie, go ahead. Tell me what you thought of this movie.
I liked it. I thought it was really fun, really great to see how they kept bringing up, this is not a political trial.
Yeah.
It's not a political trial. Not at all.
Nope.
Yeah, no, it's not. No.
But obviously, over and over again, it kept bringing up political elements.
Surprise. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's funny because you see how the judge reacts to everything, and he's just a clown, basically. I mean, the dude at that point, I guess he had gotten his license, if I understand right. Like, he'd become a judge like in the 1920s or something like that. So he'd been practicing or being a judge for decades by the time he did this trial, and I think he enjoyed the fact that there was such publicity around it, quite honestly. At least that's the way the movie portrays him as. But yeah, it's just they have 6 white guys and 1 black guy on trial, and it basically, the movie talks about the fact that
7 white guys and one black guy.
Well, it was the Chicago 7, right?
Because it would have been the 8, but they pulled him out.
Well, but he was on trial. He was on trial during that.
Yeah, he was technically on trial, but
yeah, they ended up
was
declaring him
unaffiliated.
Yeah,
right, because he was
a Black Panther.
Lawyer.
Yeah, he didn't have his lawyer, right? He didn't have his lawyer, and he kept on saying, "I need a lawyer," or whatever. And the judge was like, "You have a lawyer." He's like, "I don't have a lawyer." "No, you have a lawyer. You had a lawyer sitting right next to you." He's like, "He's not my lawyer." And finally, the layor's like, "I'm not his lawyer." It's like, you need to have a lawyer.
That's
this is the United States.
I
Contempt of court is crazy. And then there's a scene where they show him getting gagged and bound, right? And the movie makes it seem like they gag and bound him, and then they just say, okay, we're gonna have a mistrial, just like within a few minutes span. No, in real life, that guy came into the courtroom for 4 days, gagged and bound, before they finally declared a mistrial. 4 days he went into that courtroom, and finally they're going up to him like, this is the United States of America.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Gagging and bounding somebody in a court of law. It's just nuts. When I found out that it was actually 4 days, I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
See, and they did that with the guy's, the prosecuting attorney's face. You'd look over there like, I can't believe we're doing this. He just had this. You could tell that the emotions were trying to summate that so that way they could get rid of it within like 15 minutes of the movie.
Right. Well, and then, of course, the reason why the prosecution decides that he's going to declare a mistrial is because he realizes that public opinion is swaying in their favor because of this fiasco that's going on. So it's like, yeah, let's get this guy out of here. He's a member of the Black Panther Party. They're trying to make him look like this big, mean black guy, because he's the founding member of the Black Panther Party in Chicago. And it backfires, basically, because of the
judge was crazy.
But what was it? It was something like 37 contempts of court.
Yeah, there was a lot.
It's just nuts. But, let's talk a little bit about movie elements on that movie. I thought it was interesting. Now, I don't know how many Aaron Sorkin movies or shows you guys have seen, but he's very well known for being wordy. Like, if you watched The West Wing on television, like, he had these big pompous speeches that the president would give, and he'd solve world peace in the Middle East by giving some speech, or something like that. So Aaron Sorkin had this idea that, and even in Social Network, it was the same kind of deal. It's just, the movie's a lot of words, and the Chicago 7 is still that way, but they could have really messed up if Aaron Sorkin didn't do what he did, and that was, instead of showing everything that happened that led up to the trial at the beginning of the movie, he dispersed it through the movie and made it what moved the plot forward, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Right, because they didn't reveal like every circumstance that got him into prison in the first place. Yeah. They only showed, they like baited you in.
Right. And I think that was a wise decision because, again, the movie is a lot of words. But I'm telling you, there was some good acting in this movie, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Big names, right? Acting. So the dude, I can't think of his name, but the dude that was big poofy hair, he's kind of the
comedian. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Sasha Baron Cohen, right? Mm-hmm. The Borat guy.
Yeah.
Wow, he did a great job.
It's like that was like Cheech Marin, like in politics, right there.
Yeah,
with history degree and everything.
It was good. It was good. And then the dude that played like kind of the main character, I can't think of his name now, but that was the guy who plays the dude from Fantastic Beasts. I can't think of his name. He's the star of that show.
I'm horrible
the like main character
from Pillars of the Earth on the miniseries.
Okay,
so he was in that. He's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah, he plays the.
Did he play the quadriplegic too? In a film. He plays a quadriplegic in a film. I think.
Maybe.
He's the scientist that.
You mean the theory of everything?
Yes, theory of everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I can't think of his name either. All of a sudden, it's just totally gone off the top of my head.
So we apologize for right now.
A Brief History of the World. The movie is called The Theory of Everything. Man. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't think of the guy's name. That guy, right? He ends up dying. I mean, it's ALS is what he has, right? But he's like the smartest guy in the world. And
Stephen Hawking.
Thank you. Yes, that's the guy. Yeah. But he plays but his main role that I think a lot of people know him by is from Fantastic Beasts because he's the main dude in that series that's being put out in the Harry Potter universe.
Well, of course, it's the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
But yeah, he does a fantastic job. I mean, they're just really good acting that goes on. In fact, that guy, he ends up becoming a senator for California, and he's a senator for decades, like 30 years or something like that. And then he actually marries Jane Fonda, and so he has a kid with Jane Fonda. So he was married to Jane Fonda for like 15 years or something like that. So yeah, so he's not a small name. And then the guy who was the hippie or the comedian dude, he becomes like a yuppie basically in the 80s, and he becomes a businessman, becomes a multimillionaire, and he dies jaywalking across the street at University of California, I guess it was.
The Haight-Ashbury area?
No, down in LA. Okay. Yeah, USC, I think is what it was, or UCLA, or one of those colleges down there in the LA area. But yeah, so yeah, that's how he dies. And so he died in the 1980s, I guess, got ran over by a car. So just thought I'd throw that out there. But yeah. I don't know. I liked the movie. It was captivating. It was 2 hours long, but it actually didn't seem like... Yeah,
it didn't feel like 2 hours.
It was pretty good. I mean, Aaron Sorkin's a pretty good director. He does a pretty good job. So, Charlie, let's start with you. What did you think? What's your score for this movie?
I'm going to give this one a 4. I enjoyed it. It was very entertaining to watch for being a drama and being historical. I really appreciated all the acting in it, especially from from the outcasts from the Black Panthers. He just kept with it, just like, no, pay attention to what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
And
it was irritating. I just wanted to reach in the movie and punch that judge. He was so
Judge
irritating.
was insane.
That and the closing scene with was it? You said it was Sasha, right? I always forget his name. So when he comes out and says, "Okay, I've been clowning around this whole time, but legitimately, this is why we're here."
Yeah.
He goes. I mean, history says, and he just lays down the law, just like, okay. He goes. And especially the part where he pauses like for a second. He goes, and so he pauses during part of his testimony, and the prosecutor goes, "Wait a minute, why are you taking so long to think about this?" It's like, well, this is the first time I'm being on trial for my thoughts.
Yeah. It was good.
So give me a minute.
Right?
Nice little dig in the lines.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I mean, it's not actually very far-fetched. It feels far-fetched when you're watching the movie because you're like, you cannot believe that this kind of circus actually took place. And this is coming from somebody who watched a lot of the, I can't think of his name now, the slow forward guy, the football player. Oh my gosh, I'm getting old. I'm getting senile. I can't think of his name. The trial of the century back in the day with Judge Ito and all those people.
OJ.
OJ, yeah. I mean, and that was a circus if there ever was one.
Was a circus.
But I'm telling you, so but even where how they would always say overruled or sustained when they would all say it. That really happened. It started to become a joke because the judge would say overruled or sustained before he ever even heard why the lawyer was saying objection for. So it became a joke. And so all these people overruled, sustained. That actually happened in the trial. It was just nuts. And then that whole scene where the end guy stands up and says, the judge says, "Hey, I'm expecting great things from you. You've been the most respectful person during this whole trial." And then he starts reading all of the names.
Yes.
That really happened. It really did happen. He read all of the names. I thought
that would have been for dramatic effect.
No, it really happened. He read all of the names on that piece of paper. And it's really good because a lot of times when you hear about protests and stuff from the 60s, it always feels like they didn't care for the military, right? It's always, I hate you, you're baby killers, whatever. That's kind of what we get from that left-leaning hippie group of people.
What history class would teach us, too.
Right.
It's like, some people were really disrespectful to our troops for something they weren't in control of.
So, these people, they were like, okay, not only do we not want the war to stop, but we're killing our American the American generation here. And I can't remember what he said. There was 5,000 people. Was that what it was? Something like that?
Yeah, just during the trial.
But the trial lasted 7 months. So, yeah.
It's still a lot of people.
It is a whole lot. Well, over 50,000 Americans lost their lives in the Vietnam War. It was a lot of people that lost their lives in a tiny little country over a police action. The Vietnam War was never actually a war. It was never technically a war. It was a police action. So, it's why were we over there? There's so many arguments that could be made why we ever even stepped foot. Same argument sometimes that could be made for why we find ourselves still in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we still lose, our soldiers today over there in those countries. So, anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is not a political podcast. It is an entertainment podcast. So I am going to give the Chicago 7 a 4. Yep, 4. That's right. I'm going to give it a 4. It is a good movie and well worth your time. I think you should watch it. Lemuel, what about you? We haven't asked your score yet, have we?
I think I'm going to follow your guys' suit and also do a 4. I liked it a lot. It wasn't captivating. I'm going to be honest. Even when I chose this movie, I was a little concerned that it might get a little boring. But like you said, the fact that they didn't show everything up front really helped make it captivating. So if it was just 2 hours of mainly trial talk, I would have.
Yeah, it broke the monotony.
Yeah, but the flashbacks and showing the scenes with the cops taking off their badges and everything, I was.
Yeah, it's interesting, and then you just watch it though, and you just I cannot believe this actually happened. I kept on thinking that the whole time I'm watching the movie. And I was like, this can't be real. Sorkin had to put, this cannot, and I'm like, so I'm looking it up on, holy crap, it's all real. Oh my gosh, you have got to be kidding me. That really happened. You can't make that stuff up, I guess, is how the saying goes, right? It's just, it's nuts. So, all right, well, we all liked it. It's a good movie. If you got a Netflix subscription, go check it out. It's well worth your time. I would have probably paid $10 at a movie theater to go see it. It was good. It was worth it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to move into another segment we like to call Pop Culture News. That's what we call it, I think. If not, oh, well, that's what we're calling it this week. It's Pop Culture News. Charlie, we're going to start with you, my friend. What kind of news bit do you have today?
So, a little town in the Northwest, name of Seattle.
A little town.
A little town.
A little town. Never heard of it.
Only the biggest town in the Northwest, but okay.
Exactly. But it's got a museum of pop culture. I don't know if you knew this or not, but they have a museum of pop culture.
Well, we started it, right?
Well, it was all simpletons. It was all simpletons.
All simpletons.
Hey, and there is a group of simpletons that are going to be heading up the next. What would you call it? Well, there's the Founders Award. Is the next feature that they're having, and there's a little band called Alice in Chains that is being honored.
Oh, a little band.
Yeah. So these guys, they're getting the hometown award. They're awarding their hometown, and Alice in Chains. They're going to be put together with a whole bunch of artists. They're going to do like a big celebratory like concert, and so a lot of covers. So like Mastodon, another small band, and Code Orange, and like there's a bunch of bands that are going to be playing like covers, as well as like Heart's going to be there, Smashing Pumpkins. Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction. All these guys are going to show up, and they're going to do Slipknot's Corey Taylor is even going to do some sort of tribute thing for.
So all these people are going to be there doing a tribute to Alice in Chains.
That's what I'm understanding is
even
like,
Heart.
Even Heart, right?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And those are all Seattle-based bands for the most part, right? I mean,
well,
all those people
not all.
Well, some of them. But
well, I mean,
Heart is, and
Heart
like
is.
so, yeah.
The rest of them seem like they're from California. They're all West Coasters.
They're all 90s bands for the most
part,
except for
Heart.
Bands,
except for Heart. Heart started a little earlier.
Yeah, just a little earlier, 1970s. But yeah, well, that's pretty awesome. It's really kind of it's sad that what's his name, Lane, the lead singer, has passed away. But that's really awesome that Alice in Chains is getting the tribute that they deserve. I mean, to a certain extent, I feel like Alice in Chains did not get... I mean, they were popular, don't get me wrong. They were one of the biggest bands of the 1990s. But when you talk about the Seattle sound, it's not the first band that always comes to mind, right? You always talk about...
kills it first.
Yeah, Nirvana or Pearl Jam or Soundgarden. Those are usually the three bands that you just pop in your mind when you think of the Seattle sound. And Alice in Chains is usually mentioned, but I mean, come on, they're
not they weren't listed as a cornerstone.
No, but their music has stood the test of time, and I think they're getting a lot more respect now than maybe even when they were at their peak, which is really good. I really am sad that the lead singer has passed away, and I'm sad as the days go by because we're losing all those singers and all of those amazing people that made the 90s sound what they were. You know, we've lost Chris Cornell, and we've lost of course we've lost
Kurt Cobain,
and we've lost the dude from Alice in Chains, which I can't think of his name. I think it's Lane Staley. I want to say this name, but I can't remember. We lost the dude from Stone Temple Pilots, and we've lost the dude from Linkin Park, and it just all these bands. It's just like, wow, why are and most of some of it's drug overdose, and a lot of it's suicide, and it's just it's. Look, I know our music was famous for being depressing, but come on, that's what the music is for. You're supposed to get all that junk out when you're singing your songs, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But it's sad. Well, that's really awesome. I'm glad they're doing it in their hometown of Seattle too, and I hope the fans get a chance to see it somehow. Will we be able to get to see it?
Oh yeah, I think a lot of this is going to be done streamed. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it's going to be streamed. So
sweet, that's awesome, great. Good deal. All right, Mr. Lemuel, sir, go for it.
All
Mr.
right.
Burr,
Well,
sir.
I'm jumping right back into my comfort zone with this one, but some pop culture news
Sorry.
here that's kind of interesting, and in my opinion, it's interesting, and you could say it's economical or whatever, but
Economical?
these small devices that cost over $500 that no one's ever heard of, called the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One Series S, are supposedly, last I read anyways, having a shortage up until potentially April of 2021.
Oh, really?
So,
Surprise! No,
yeah,
that's-
so,
that's-
people who've already bought them or people who are trying to buy them may be out of luck for the next 6 months.
So when Dan said he had his PS5, he was pretty lucky. That's what you're telling
Yeah,
me.
no, he's extremely lucky. Like, not everybody has
You hear that,
gotten
Dan? You're
consoles.
lucky. Of course, you probably know
Lucky
that.
Dan.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Like a lot of the creators on YouTube and stuff got theirs early, and even Snoop Dogg got like an Xbox fridge for some reason.
Oh, so it's all who
he
you know.
was- Yeah, but people like even Braden, like they may have to wait till April of next year. So
Well, I know he's watching, like, he sees, like, okay, so the Walmart's going to have this many at 1 o'clock, and, like, he was mad the other day because he didn't get off work till, like, 1:30, and he knew they were going to be gone by the time he got off work, so
Yeah.
he was kind of mad about that, but...
yeah, CJ and Jacob, my in-laws got theirs, but they waited in line at a GameStop like 3 months ago for 4 hours to be the first 5 people to walk in and get their pre-order. So
Look, I gotta
I wasn't
tell you.
about to do that. So I'm chilling.
I don't even know what it would be like to have that much kind of money to slap down on a video game player. I'm just saying. Dude, these things are running what? Like the minimum
They're
price is
over
what?
$500 right now.
That's the base price. Am I
Yep,
wrong?
and they're raising the cost of an actual video game to $70 now from $60, like just a straight game without all the DLC or anything. So things are getting pricey. Which
60,
is bad
and you
for
don't
me.
even own a hard copy of these video games anymore.
Not anymore. Nope, you just
And you're
own the
paying
rights
70
to
for it.
download them and play. And yes, you'll be paying.
So you're
70.
not paying for the video game, you're paying for the rights.
Yep. Well, technically speaking, up until recently, you were only paying for the rights to have the console in your hands too. That's a whole thing I read up on a couple of years ago. But some printer lawsuit, the judge finally, like a judge at some point, basically ruled that your consoles and your DVD players and all that stuff you finally own. But at first, you didn't even technically own your printer. Like the company basically owned it. You just owned the right to your house. So.
Well, that's weird. All right, well.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have fun trying to get your video game player.
I think I might just wait, maybe upgrade my PC because I'm too lazy for that.
You know what? You are a married adult who now has a huge monthly rent, let alone other
Yeah.
bills. You might want to just think about forgetting about the video game player for a while, or at least setting aside
That's what I'm
a
saying.
slush fund where you're saving 10 to 20 bucks a month, and then you can buy it.
Yeah.
I'm
not worried
sorry, I'm
about
just
it
being
right
all
now.
fatherly here all of a sudden. What can I say?
That's the adult in all of us.
Well, all right, that's right. It's my turn, guys. So shut up and listen to me.
Nate, tell us what's making you happy today. Come on, Nate. Tell us what's happy.
So, a tiny little film came out about 25 years ago, done by the amazing director, Wes Craven. It was entitled Scream. So they are rebooting the franchise, and they're going to entitle this new episode Scream. That's an name of it. Yeah, it's not Scream 5. It's
They're
not.
branching out.
It's going to be the 5th version, but it's not Scream 5. They're just entitling it Scream. And it is actually Kevin Williamson who wrote the original screenplay. Unfortunately, Wes Craven isn't around to direct it because the man has passed away. May he rest in peace. He's a fantastic director. He's probably the best horror director out there. He was fantastic. But it's actually reuniting pretty much the original cast. It's going to have Neve Campbell, who was the star of the original show. It's going to have Courtney Cox, David. What's his last name? David. I can't think of his last name. Anyways, Courtney Cox's ex-husband. Actually, I think if I think about it, right? Yeah. So it's going to have. Neve Campbell is 47. Courtney Cox is 56. David Arquette, that's his name. David Arquette. It's just so yeah, they're old, but they're gonna be in this movie. So I don't know who the target audience is. I guess it's us. Generation X. I don't know. Look, the
old
first
people.
movie was
Sorry,
really good.
It's old people.
Run away
Right?
from that monster.
The first movie
Get
was
away from him.
yeah. The first movie was basically a mockery, in a sense, of horror movies and their tropes, right? And
Yeah,
that's
the whole Seth Green scene, or
Yeah.
was it Seth Green? Yeah, it talks about the badness of horror movies, and
Right.
look at how tripped this is.
but you know, because it's Wes Craven, it was still scary. Like, and he's, you know, Wes Craven is the dude who's done Nightmare on Elm Street, right? So he knows scary, and he made that movie just as scary as anything else that was, you know, really just a you know, straight down horror movie. The opening sequence with Drew Barrymore, and you know, she's talking on the phone, and oh my god, that's freaking nuts. And so Lemuel, I don't know if you've ever seen a Scream movie. Have you ever seen a Scream movie? Well, you've seen the costume with the white face, the white ghost face.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's where it originally comes from. That movie is Scream. That's so, yeah, it's like probably one of the most famous Halloween costumes of all time. It has been for 25 years now. Right? So yeah, it's coming out sometime. I think next year or maybe in 2022. I'm not quite sure, but because it just barely got the name written down. So yeah, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Nev Campbell. They're all going to be in Scream 5, which is titled. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Simpleton Review. We're so glad you've decided to watch this whole video. I hope you're still watching. Check out simpletonreview.com. You can find not this shirt at all, but you can find Lemuel's shirt, because he's got one on. It's called, you can find swag. You can subscribe to our audio podcast of this. You can read our blog where we've got some awesome news tidbits and things like that. So join us at simpletonreview.com, and remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube video. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't, because I've got the thing on so I can read your comments before I post them. So if I don't like your comment, I'll just delete it. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful time. I'm Nate Wade, Simpleton number 1.
And I'm Charlie Gibson, Simpleton number 2.
I'm Lemuel Edwards, Simpleton number 3.
Have a wonderful time. We'll see you next year.